Hello and welcome to part 2 of this particular episode of Skeindeer Knits. I will strongly suggest that you watch part 1 before this because I'm not going to do any sort of introductory bits apart from this particular section. So do make sure that you watch that part first, otherwise this is just going to be a really disjointed video. I'm just splitting these up because they're both probably going to be quite long and who's got time for that? So hopefully this is like your time for an intermission, grabbing a cup of tea, knitting in some rows, as though you're not knitting while watching. I don't know what I'm saying. Why is there sun on me? I'm not a fan. I strongly suspect the sun is going to continue to be a pain in my face today, so we're just going to rely on the studio light for now, and I'm going to be looking like a ghost. Anyway, I have a lot of acquisitions because I've been naughty. It seems to correlate with the less I knit, the more I think I need to buy yarn, because buying yarn and knitting is almost the same thing, right? Right? So, anyway. I realised looking at my desk, I've got this like pile of burgundy now. Just different burgundies, but they're all practically the same shade, but they're all different. Some of these we covered in the last episode, so I'm just going to pull those out. It's stuff that I bought from Tribe. There should be, oh yeah, this is from the Polworth sweater. This is the little grey sheep. But these are some pretty nice acquisitions. I came across this skein at the festival I went to recently, and I was told that this was the only skein they had. And I was like, oh, that's a shame. I'd love to do a garment in it. And they contacted me on Instagram later on and offered me 3 skeins. I have never had the pleasure of having indie dyed silk mohair. I've only knitted commercial silk mohair, but this is just gorgeous. Look at that. Full on burgundy. It looks a little bit cooler on the camera because of the light, I think, but it's pretty burgundy. And the dyer is Giddy Aunt Yarns. There we are. I don't know what to say. The colorway is called Blackcurrant Jam, which seems to be like most of my favorite colorways are called something to do with blackcurrant. Wonder why. So Giddy Aunt Yarns kindly sent me these 3 skeins. Oh, I'm just not agreeing with the light today. Anyway, let's see if the yarn looks a little bit better now. Yeah, that looks pretty good. So yeah, I'm just gonna sniff them for a bit. Shouldn't probably sniff more hair because it's got a lot of flyaway hairs. Living dangerously. I will read you a bit of the details. It's 72% kid mohair and 28% silk. 420 meters by 50 grams. That is 459 yards. GiddyAuntYarns.co.uk. So put that here. So there you have it. You can screenshot that or post that if you want to read further. I don't even know what this is going to become yet. I'm just so thrilled to have it because it's beautiful. Feel very spoiled. So thank you so much for sending this to me. That is very nice. I have already explained to them that I may not be able to cast on immediately to show you guys how it knits up, but hopefully you can probably see that it's going to be pretty amazing. So that was one of the piles of burgundy that landed in my mailbox. The other pile was an order that I made myself, which is another aunt based in Scotland, old Maiden Aunt, and it's burgundy. This is the... I'm just going to show you because otherwise I am going to be reading aniseseed and nobody needs that. So this is the colorway and it's burgundy. It's very, very deep dark burgundy, one of my favorite varieties of burgundy, if you will. Slightly tonal, I would say. Not much. It kind of came up a bit more extreme on camera actually than it really is. This is 100% Corriedale and it's got 380 yards. Don't know what that's in meter, doesn't say, per 100 grams. And I already have a skein of this from last year's Edinburgh Yarn Festival. And I actually asked the dyer if she had more skeins, and she told me I could just let her know that I want more and she'll dye it up and put it up in the shop. And I never got around to it. And then I just felt like going into her yarn shop based on a post on Instagram she did. She's having to put up with some really hefty nonsense, quite frankly. It's not nice. and I felt compelled to just be like, you know, maybe there's something in the shop I want. It's been a while since I bought some old Maiden Aunt, and I found these exact skeins, 3 skeins, exactly what I need to have a sweater quantity, you know, when adding it to the skein I already have. I think it's that one, that right there, next to a contrast color in grey. So that means this can become something color work, maybe, possibly, I don't know, but that would be nice. So yeah, old Maiden Aunt. I just love Corriedale, in case nobody knew. I love Cormo, I love Corriedale, all those yarns. The more sort of rustic merinos as well, they're just fabulous yarns. So having a sweater quantity in Corriedale, I keep saying Cormo, I mean Corriedale, I don't hate it. So this is a purchase I feel very, very good about. So excited to do whatever I'm gonna be and ending up doing with it. And like, I want to show you the fiber. This is proper woolen spun. I don't know where it's made, but oh my days, look at that. Look at it. Look how woolen spun that is. This is what I mean when I say rustic. Look at that. You just can't. It's just so lofty. And just, love it so much. There's a lot of sun now, and the garbage truck is disrupting me. And I deserve it, because I put off recording this episode for hours this morning, and I could have avoided all this. But you know, usually it's the other way around. It's like I try to get it done as soon as possible, and that is when the garbage truck people are here. And I'm like sitting here the rest of the day when it's dead quiet, wondering why I couldn't just wait a bit. There's just no predicting the madness here. Anyway, another acquisition. It's a pretty big one. I went a bit on a splurge on the Isolde page again. This happens a lot, and I just felt like my life needed a lot of grey Finull along with a yellow skein that is a yellow pretty far out from my comfort zone. I don't know if you can tell. It's neither gold nor mustard. I don't usually like this yellow, but I will show you why I felt like I needed this sweater quantity. There is a pattern from Rauma that has been out for quite some time, and I initially decided I didn't want it. I didn't care, well, whatever. And then I just kept looking at it and I'm like, I need that sweater, actually, turns out. And I kind of got into a bit of a frenzy panic that I need it now. And so lovely Merete of the Strikk på Landet podcast, which is a Norwegian language podcast in Norway, she offered to send me the pattern. So I'm super grateful for that, and I will be showing you it right now. This is the sweater. Hopefully now you can see why I feel like I need it, and I don't care that the yellow isn't quite me, because this is gorgeous. So there are some photos inside as well. And when I saw those photos, I realized this is gonna need some hefty modifications to make me happy. Because as beautiful as this sweater is, we all know I'm not gonna be happy in this neckline. It's very nicely folded over. It's got like a purl row where you fold it over and tuck it down, and I like that. But this, it's like all over here on her, and on my size it's guaranteed to be bigger. So I am going to be modifying this a lot. I'm probably going to cast on provisionally here and then see what I can do with the neckline later. And yeah, of course I'm modifying to top down as well, because that's just kind of how I roll. So yeah, I'm gonna have a lot of fun with this and just modify until I get bored with it. So I'm wondering, why does the guy's sweater get to look nicely fitted? Like, why does he have that neckline that looks like it's actually a good fit? I don't know. I'm gonna have to sit down and yeah, do some proper number crunching on this. But I absolutely love the pattern. I think it's so gorgeous. It's nice that Rauma have come up with something new, basically. You know, usually the colorwork patterns in Norway are rehashed versions of the 50s patterns, but this is actually new, and that's pretty exciting. So it will happen one day, don't know when, but regardless, I am super grateful to Merete who sent me this. She also included some yarn, got 3 skeins, and they are all in the 2-ply Gammelserie, or old series, which is basically Finull but with a higher twist. Arguably they should be more durable and even usable for socks. I'm a bit of a scaredy cat in that I don't put non-nylon yarn in my socks, but I should really try this yarn and see if it can make some fairly durable socks, because I reckon if it's color work, that's gonna make them quite sturdy. So I got 3 shades. Colorway 4087 for the light pink, colorway 4901 for the darker pink, burgundy, what have you, and colorway 401 for the bleached white. And it's cute because both of these have dial at 1 because they are brand new colorways. Because this is really the first time that the 2-ply old series has been expanded to more colors than the traditional Norwegian white, black, blue, red. Yeah, so I'm very excited that they're expanding it with more colors. More colors is always a good thing in my book, especially when it's yarn. So thank you so much, Merete. That's super generous. I always become a bit flustered when I get gifts, basically, in yarn form especially, so thank you. I did also add a bit of an extra thing to my Isolde order. This is Kazekobo's favorite patterns. That's what it says up here. It is one of those Japanese stitch dictionaries, and it's the only one from the Isolde shop that I do not yet have, so I had to have it. It's just full of cable texture goodness. Some techniques, some rib stuff, some, like, just to give you a general idea. Obviously don't want to give it away, but yeah, pretty good source if you are a designer, even though it's actually not that much color work in here. I don't mind branching out, so just one of those resources that I feel like I need to have. So before I get into my Yarnporium things, I did also place a bit of an order with my friend Hannah of Circustonic Handmade, who's a hand dyer in Australia, because she had a free international shipping thing a while back. And there is one skein of hers that I have wanted for ages, and finally it is mine. This is it. This is it. Oh my god, it's so pretty. Ah! This is the red-browed Treecreeper. I think that's a Australian bird. I think that's what she names all her skeins by, from, based on, inspired by. It's so pretty. I have wanted this for so long. I mean, look at those colors. Just I don't need to explain to you why I felt like I needed this. This is the Revelry sock fingering / 4-ply, 80% Australian superwash merino, 20% nylon, 409 yards or 374 meters per 100 grams. It's gonna have to become a pair of socks, right? But it's quite a busy variegation. So I don't know what kind of socks, if it's just like Hermione or blueberry waffle or what have you. Haven't really decided. I don't know. It's hard to find a good pattern for busy variegation yarn, but we'll see what I find. It could be a sockhead hat too. I don't know. It's just, oh, it feels so nice and it's so good and so pretty, and I'm glad to finally have it. So that was a purchase I did. Another thing I also got is a pin. When life is a circus, you just knit. I think it says something along the sorts. So when life is a circus, knit on. That's what it says. I seem to be on the enamel pin thing, as you can see here. I'll be talking about these in just a bit, but yeah. My bags are full of enamel pins, so I just need to put them on everything else now, including myself. You know, I saw this old guy the other day in my neighborhood here in Shoreditch. Like, this is a pretty like cool and hipster area, but there was this old guy with a cane, and he was wearing this hat, and it was full of enamel pins. It was just the most awesome thing I've ever seen. You know, you're never too old to rock the enamel pins. So that's definitely for sure. Now, Hannah also included a little extra for me, one of which is this hand balm. What's in here? It smells amazing, and it's amazing for people who knit and get slightly dry cuticles, which I do. I just don't actually ever use balms, which I should. So thank you, Hannah. Thanks for looking out for me. So that's a little bonus that I got. The other bonus that I got, it's quite the bonus. I believe this is an advent calendar of Circustonic Handmade. It's got this little... Oh my day. I have never owned a hand-dyed advent calendar before. I've had the opal sock yarn advent calendars the past 2 years, which has been fun. But let's be real, a hand-dyed advent calendar is a whole nother level entirely. I mean, I can't show you the content, obviously, but I'm trying to process this, you know. So you will be seeing each and every skein probably when I am opening them at my Vlogust episodes. I'm a bit scared of like promising all this Vlogust stuff. I want to do it, I'm going to do it, but obviously we'll be a lot more busy than I was last year. So I may have to cheat them a little bit, we'll see. Maybe do some in one day. That we'll see. Point is, you're gonna get a video every day-ish. So, and I will open these then. So I can't cheat the opening of the calendar. That's wrong. This is like a thing I'm very like, I can get very conservative about, which is people opening the advent calendars before they are allowed to, in accordance with the advent calendar. Do not. It's like, it hurts a part in me when people just open their advent calendars. It says 1 because you open on the first, it says 2 because you open on the second. Do not break these unwritten rules. Or they're actually written on the parcel. I feel very strongly about this, which is very strange. I mean, you know, like people open the Christmas presents before Christmas Eve or Christmas Day, depending on where you live, or other days. That's just wrong. Don't. Like, this is a very heartfelt story my mom tells me every year. She had a friend when she grew up, and she had made that friend, I think she's actually knitted the friend a scarf, but I don't know, I could be making that part off. She made them a Christmas present, wrapped it up, gave it to them, assuming they're gonna open it at Christmas Eve, as you do in Norway. And the friend rang her door the next day, was wearing it. And my mom is still very hurt about that to this date. And that is kind of how I feel about advent calendars. So maybe if anything, this advent calendar is gonna make me record every day, because I can't open it the day before. That would be wrong. And finally, we are ready to talk about Yarnporium, which is people seem hesitant to call it a yarn festival, but I don't see why not. It's a yarn event happening in London. It happened 2 years ago and it has happened again this year. Maybe Yarn Symposium is better. I don't know. It seems very similar to a festival to me. It's a event, a show. There is a yarn market. There are classes and talks and people meeting up, and it's fabulous and I enjoyed it so much. I spent most of the day with Amy Florence of the Stranded podcast and probably drove her proper mad because after all it was her birthday. And so yeah, we had a really nice breakfast at Dishoom in Covent Garden, which is the best place ever. Oh, Dishoom is so good, so good. If you're ever in London, make sure you book a table at Dishoom because oh my days. Oh my days. They don't allow you to book after 5 o'clock though, so you need to kind of just make sure you either get their delicious breakfast or their house dal, which they serve later in the day. Oh, and their chai. Anyway, I was going to talk about Yarnporium. Yarnporium was fabulous. I was let in as a kind of their media monkey, but of course also because I am on their the London Yarn Guide. So yeah, we got in and we talked to all the peoples and just squished all the yarn, and I had this like kind of weird realization moment that I often do, which is kind of just, especially after having been cooped up in an office for weeks and generally hanging out with knitters outside of the Skeindeer sphere that I'm on here. I had this like weird moment at Yarnporium, probably extending the whole event, where I was just, wow, I know people. I know a lot of people. I'm like the worst networker ever. I mean, being in academia, we have a lot of wine and mingle events, and I am terrible at them. I don't like them, and I can't do this of shouting, holding a wine of glass, and making small talk and talking science. I just can't. But with yarn and knitting and designing and what have you, or talking about the weather with nitty people, it's just so different. And I realized just how many connections that I have made that I wasn't even aware of, and people who I assume not to know who I am who did. I'm like, quite humbling, but also sort of weirdly uplifting at the same time. I want to go to more of these events, you know, it just makes you feel a bit immortal. Does that sound weird? I think Amy of the Fat Squirrel Speaks podcast managed to put similar thoughts into words after her Rybak video, and it's such a different world, and I kind of wish I could stay in it. It's just really nice, and I wish these events would be every weekend where I can meet up with people who get it, you know? So I seem to be going into a bit of a mind blank about all the things that I did, but I certainly know where to purchase because I have those things right here. I'll be talking about this bag after I have emptied it, so just notice it. And it's, oh my god, everyone stopped me to talk about the bag that I'd purchased. That was, yeah. So what did Ellie get? Well, I was restrained. First of all, it all fits into this bag. Can we just point that out? Yeah? Okay, good. So, first of all, Amy got me my fringe bag. I could not resist when Fringe Supply Company said they had launched a plum color fringe bag. None of you should be surprised by this, and if you are, welcome to this podcast. You must be new. So it feels weirdly wet because it's waxed, and I think maybe I would have gone for non-waxed if that were an option, but you know what, I will grow to like it. It seems to soften up pretty fast, which is nice. This is the fringe bag. It stands up on its own because it's waxed, and waxed feels weird. I don't know. I don't know if I'm a fan. But what I am a fan of is Fringe Supply Company and Shamika, who helped me pre-order this along with her order, and Amy, who picked it up from Shamika at Rybak, so that I can have it right here, right now, when it's sold out pretty much most places. Sorry about that. This is my new French hat. Do you like it? I'm ridiculous. Let's not do this. So, I feel so funny. This wax thing. But apparently that makes it waterproof, which is pretty nice. I don't know what I can tell you about a fringe bag that you don't already know. I can do this, and it's actually easier to do than most of the bags that I already have because I haven't used them that much. And I bought 3 fringe bags this year. Who am I? This is my thing, right? I go to yarn shows and I'm like, take my money, and I tell myself, well, at least I'm not like one of those people that spend lots and lots of money on like handbags and shoes. I'm just one of those people that spend lots of money on knitting bags and expensive sock yarn. Let that one sink in for a bit. So yeah, got myself a fringe bag in my favorite colour, and I'm very happy about it. No regrets, but I'm ridiculous. So, what else is in my bag? Well, I bought a skein. I got one hand-dyed skein for the entire event, even though there were a lot of amazing hand-dyers there. I got myself an Easyknits skein. This may sound familiar because Easyknits is also the designer behind the Underground knits, but he also does self-striping yarn. I did knit up one of his yarns earlier with the bee colorway, as I called it. I don't think that's what it's called, but it was like a yellow grey stripe sparkly sock. This is not sparkly, this is just amazing colours that I absolutely love, which probably doesn't surprise anyone. It's called Venom. 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon, 4-ply fingering weight, 100 grams, 425 meters. Easyknits.com.uk. So I bought that. Speaking of Easyknits, I believe he's going to do kits of the Underworld knits that I talked about in part 1. I forgot to mention that, but yeah. So Susan Crawford's doing kits of my mittens, and Easyknits doing kits of the Underworld knits, and Nina Petrina is doing kits for the Skumning cardigan. So all of this is pretty amazing. I love when people do kits of my patterns. That's kind of cool. So yeah, Easyknits game. The rest of my purchases were actually pretty sober. I've got 4 skeins left in here, and they're all commercial sock yarn. 3 of which are West Yorkshire spinners, because I am totally throwing myself on Amy Floren's Christmas sock, festive sock knit along. And this is the latest Christmas yarn by West Yorkshire Spinners. It's primarily this yarn, But I've seen some pretty nice striping of this with these colors, so I'm totally going to do that. And I will still be using these colors for all sorts of other things, because this is just a perfectly good hardy sock yarn. It's 100 grams, 400 meters or 437 yards, 75% wool and 25% nylon, and comes with 35% blue-faced Leicester as part of that wool percentage. Or part of the whole percentage, maybe. Probably. I guess so. Maths is difficult when you're podcasted for 2 hours, probably. Anyway, that's what I got there. From the same seller, from the same seller, I got a skein of Retrosaria Mondim, because Anna of Wild and Woolly was there, and she sells this yarn and told me she'd had a hard time getting hold of this particular shade of yellow. So if this is a once in a lifetime opportunity, I am totally getting this yellow. So I got a yellow, and it's like just the brightest, most ridiculous yellow in the world, but there we have it. These are quite different in that this is a superwash yarn with nylon, and this is just 100% non-superwash wool, which strangely still seems very appropriate for socks, which I am so excited about and curious about, and I'm definitely going to try to make up some designs in Mondim one day, because I am all for this yarn. It seems to become more and more readily available now. Like, I'm pretty sure Blade Garn are selling this yarn in Norway, which just a few months ago was impossible to get in Norway, so you can just see how it's escalating, and that's pretty cool, because I have been wanting this kind of sock yarn for ages. I'd probably be more comfortable if it had nylon, but I'm still gonna give it a shot. I already have 3 skates, so you know, clearly I like it. Also, I was given something there by the amazing Gemma of the Little Grey Girl. She is a regular at various UK festivals. She makes these iconic kind of triangular project bags that are great for socks. But I, of course, wanted a bigger bag. So I got one because she's super generous, and she gave me this. It is so incredibly beautiful. I love this. I love the size of it. I love the pattern. It's got her logo on it. So there. Thank you so much. That was really cool. I know we'd been in talks about me getting a bag earlier, but I kind of thought that was a thing of the past, and that was fine, and I suddenly had this one thrown after me, and that was really nice. It was also really nice that she was having her stand next to Blacker Yarns, where Katie was doing her very last Blacker event. She's going solo again. Hopefully that's going to mean she's going to make more amazing books, because Katie makes amazing illustrations and has written a fabulous autobiography called Lighter Than My Shadow, and I'm very excited to see that maybe she will be writing more and drawing more. It's very nice to see Katie again as well, and I enjoyed this event so much. And Rybak was there, still struggling with the pronunciation, but yeah, Christine was there selling her beautiful German woolen spun rustic merino yarn that I love so much, and you all know I love this. And she's come up with a 4-ply yarn that of course was sold out by the time I got there on Saturday, but have no doubt I will get my mitts on it, because I love that yarn so much. I need to knit up some more, but I have perhaps, but yeah, I have a lot of love for that yarn, and there was just a lot of people vending there that I have tremendous respect for, and people visiting too. I managed to probably properly scare both Shiny Bees and Countess Ablaze. And Sockmatician Nathan managed to properly scare me. It was just, I was standing talking, and I hear this sound somewhere far off that's just like meh, meh, meh. And I couldn't tell what it was. Turns out that was Nathan going, Ellie, Ellie, Ellie. I didn't see him more after that, but yeah, that was my event. Before I talk about this bag, which I will, I'm going to talk about my pins. One of the pins, of course, you've seen before. This is the Knitting is Metal pin. This is now, at least the shirt, I don't know about the pin, I assume the pin too, is sold by Countess Ablaze, who's Lindsay. She's got a brick and mortar shop in Manchester, which is also a fabulous online shop, and she now sells these shirts. So if you're a knitting metalhead, head over there and get your shirts without the annoying import tax from America, which I managed to get around So yeah, just because of Amy's obsession with America. And I was kind of miffed yesterday because one of my favourite metal bands, a Norwegian band called Shining, were having a concert in Camden, and I was hoping to go there because I haven't been to a show in a year and a half, if not two and a half maybe. I don't know. But since I'm coming down with something that's clearly not on the programme, so I just sat at home and listened to the music and had a live stream on Instagram in the end. But they're really cool, and they seem to have like properly pissed off their fan base by going away from their crazy experimental jazz and heavy metal approach to going like glammy hard rock, and I love it. There's a song there that sounds just like Backstreet's Back. Yeah. Anyway, the other pin I'm wearing, which is more on topic, is by Caitlinbeag. It says, feminism, knitting, dogs, it's me. And it is me. It's me in a nutshell, and I completely missed this pin. This is the cardboard that it came on. And Caitlinbeag, she's notorious for making all sorts of cat themed things for cat crazy knitters, because we know there are a lot of you out there. And so I've just not really paid all that much attention because I'm a crazy dog knitter, which, by the way, we will get our, you know, we will take over soon. It's gonna be like, you know, all the dog memes that are all the rage now. Yes, sure, Can I Has Cheeseburger was first, but all the doggo stuff and the Paparino talk is way bigger now, so we will get our revenge. But Caitlinbeag is awesome. I'm just digressing into like internet banter right now, and she makes these pins, and there's a cat one as well that, yeah, has cats instead of dogs, so you can get either. But this pin, actually, because I completely missed it, it was purchased for me by the amazing Caroline, who I'm sure you all know who is, and I wanted to recommend her to you for ages ago, but obviously I have not been recording. So even though I watched her since she had about 1 if not 2 episodes out, she's now got 5, and she is Dunder Knits on Instagram and Knitting Vicariously on YouTube, and is a fellow London knitter and podcaster. Yay! So if you have been severely like suffering from withdrawal symptoms when I'm on my thesis write-up, and well, Katie Finns on number 23 just made a human. Congratulations, Katie. She's adorable. Just the cutest little pumpkin ever. So if you've been missing me and Katie and whoever else are your favorites, then definitely fill that hole in your heart with Knitting Vicariously, Caroline's podcast, which is fabulous. And she totally not have to buy me a pin for me to say that. I was going to anyway, but it doesn't hurt that I now have the best pin in the world from her to remind me, because I'm pretty sure I forgot in the last episode I recorded. Yeah. She's got a really cool video on Rybak, which I actually had to watch twice because my attention span is a little bit so-and-so. And I got all the FOMO. That's pretty good. If you want to enjoy Rybak vicariously. See what I did there? I need to stop. I need to just be stopped. But I'm going to tell you about the bag I bought, because the bag is... Yes! I got myself a new Sherman, aka Hideandhammer and Riverknits bag of leather. So this is the interior. I'm going to show you that first because I'm going to show you how it closes. It's got like lots of bits and things and pockets and leather items. That's so far I'm going to describe that. If you want to know more, you should get one. Didn't say that, but I kind of did because it's amazing, and I support New in her return to all the making things after having made a human. And yeah, this is how you shut the thing being in the bag, not me. I'm not gonna stop talking. You're gonna have to go for that to happen. And it's got like a little leather plug that you put it on, and there we have it. The leather is already softening up, I can tell. It used to be quite hard to put this on, but I'm already having a much easier time doing it. And it's got a bit of a strap that is very easy to take off if you rather not have it, but I quite like it because I was wandering around with this around my wrist for the entirety of Yarnporium, and it was quite comfortable, and I had all my purchases inside, and everyone stopped me to talk about my bag because it was beautiful, and I got the second to last one that was left And yeah, it was in the Riverknits booth, which is an amazing UK dyer who dyes from a riverboat, which is mad. Just saying, it's amazing. I don't know how she does it, but it's incredible. And new frequently events with her at yarn festivals, and this time she had her amazing project bags there. And I do believe these bags were given a pretty generous review by Hoyi Locatelli on her podcast recently. So I don't expect these are going to be easy to get hold of, because I don't think they're made just like that, you know. They're, yeah, the proper leather. Like, this is just going to get better and better and better, and I'm very excited about that. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. Like, I feel like this is just like beyond the stuff that I understand about crafting, so I don't even know what to like point out with this thing. It's just like a proper quality item. I properly spoiled myself rotten with this purchase, for sure. But maybe that's what curbed my yarn purchasing a little bit, which we can all agree is a good thing, because I'm not in lack of yarn, and I just updated my Ravelry stash entries with my stash, and it's... I've got a lot of knitting to do, and possibly a de-stash. I know I've teased about that before, but it's probably in order, I reckon. So that is all there is, really. I think as much as I try to like take it slow and not aggravate my looming virus, I don't know if I succeeded, because I feel like I have been blabbering on and on and on. But yeah, how has my life been? I feel like all the weeks have been blending together a little bit. It's all been a little bit same, and I've mainly just been sleeping, eating, thesising. I've barely spent time at home. I've even ditched some of the knit nights I attend. I've spent most of the weekends just sleeping. I think I'm just not used to being out and about so much, even though it's all walking back and forth from the office, really, which is like an hour put together. It's not much, but I feel like it's sort of overwhelmed me a little bit, and yeah. Yarnporium was certainly an amazing break from all that, and definitely needed that. It's not all been great, as those of you who follow me on Instagram will know, and I'm very sad to tell you, those of you who do not already know, but my baby girl, little dog, my oldest dog, Cassie, died last week. It was the recommendation from the vet that she was to be put down, and I am very upset over that. Last time I saw her, based on that, I don't really feel like that was right, but then again, I'm not a veterinary, so what do I know? And they may be right, and I'm just very sad that I don't have my dog anymore. And it's weird because I always miss her. There's no day that I don't miss her. I always miss her. I've lived in London for 7 years. Missing her is what I do, and so missing her in a different way, sort of like, it doesn't feel different, and I'm feeling that I'm not really gonna take it in properly until I'm back in Norway for Christmas, and that's when I'm gonna be feeling it full on, you know. Now that I am nearly done recording, that's when the sun is gone again and the light is beautiful. Anyway, if you want to see it, I did put a post up on Instagram about Cassie shortly after I got the news that she was no longer with us. It's just a series of 10 photos of Cassie from throughout her life, from when she was a teeny tiny newly born puppy sitting in my hands with my gothy nail polish, and she's just so incredibly small. And she was so overactive when she was a newborn, but then since then she was kind of like a very calm dog. Like, sure, she had a lot of borks in her, don't get me wrong, she's quite a loud girl, but she had this like steady way of being, whereas most dogs are like very on and off. They're either like completely flat sleeping, or they're like, oh my god, walks, food, going mad. She just had a very sort of steady approach to things. Like, she would always like walk up to you at a very sort of even pace and just like have her face just facing you and like talk to you with her eyes, which I don't know, just that was the thing. Like, both her and her mom, they had a way of just communicating with their face in a way that's very different to other dogs that I've had. I am very grateful to have had Cassie for 14.5 years. I wish I could have her stay with me here in London for the last years, to be honest. But it's not really something that you do with an old dog. Not that I'm allowed to by my landlord, but it's not like I care. I'm glad that she got to live way longer than her mother, because Sandy, her mom, she really only made it to 9 years, and she seemed like she was like 16 in dog years, you know. She suddenly, her health deteriorated and she wouldn't keep her food in, and she got very thin and she was weak, and that was very, very hard to watch. Whereas Cassie, I felt, was healthy until the end. She had issues with like skin and itchiness. She's had hip problems throughout her years of life, but that's something we just remedied by not having her give birth anymore. But yeah, she's had, I think, 2 litters in her life, and she was just a beautiful dog as well. Like, I have a lot of schnauzers back home and they all look a little bit corny, let's be real, they're all a bit weird. But Cassie's just, she was a very beautiful dog. She just had this like teeny tiny physique, big head and Bambi eyes and full-on beard, and she's just a very beautiful dog. And I used to joke that she was a piglet trapped in a dog's body, because she'd always oink. She'd like come up to you, and I thought if she wanted cuddles, she would just kind of go. But I think what she was really doing was inhaling the food we were eating, like really trying to like smell it. So yeah, I miss her a lot. Don't really have much else to say other than that. You can read more about that in my Instagram post, although none of what I wrote was particularly coherent because the news were pretty new and I was kind of a big sobbing mess in my supervisor's office, which is classy. And I'm very glad nobody was knocking on the door at that day. And I am also very glad that the launch party of the London Mini Yarn Guide was on that day, so I had something nice to do that day, even though I had barely any makeup left on my face. That was a really nice thing to do. Lastly, I thought I would just wrap up this second half of the episode by talking about my future plans as far as podcasting goes. There is nothing very concrete. Patterns will be coming out. They will be announced on Instagram, but you can also of course find out about them on my Ravelry designer page, because they will come up there. I know there are 2 external publications that will pop up there anytime now, so you might want to keep your eyes peeled for that. I have a pair of stockings that are coming out whenever I'm feeling Christmas spirit. They aren't Christmas stockings as such, they're just knee-high stockings that kind of gave me a bit of a Christmas vibe when I designed them in June. So I've kind of held off until now to show them to you. I know there's also another accessory pattern coming out soon that's in relation to the Moods of Colour Yarn Club, but like, even if you're not part of the Yarn Club, it's a pattern that I hope you will enjoy. My test knitters have been pretty obsessed over it, so that's pretty good to know. It will come in 2 varieties, I will tell you that much, and I hope you'll like it. And lastly, of course, there will be a 4th and, well, arguably 5th and final pattern for the Salve Mitten Club coming out in the beginning of December. But I sure hope I have managed to record at least once until then. But yeah, I just trying to give you a heads up of patterns that you can expect that will be coming, because they're pretty much already ready. I'm just trying to pace them for the release time. So, Moods of Colour pattern, Lana Vita's socks, the mystery mittens, the stockings, the final Salve Mitten Club pattern. I think that's it. And yeah, of course, the 2 external publications that I haven't been able to mention much. I'm gonna try to cut it short there and hopefully save some designs for the new year, because it's not a very good strategy to just like bombard you with designs all at once, especially those of you who are collecting, because that's not very nice. You have to obviously live, and yeah, thank you all anyway for supporting me though, and especially in my lack of planning abilities and being absent in my PhD thesis write-up, which yes I am doing, and I thought I'd finalize by just putting up a screenshot of what I wrote because I thought it was funny. I don't think I'm going to be putting that joke in there, but I liked it, so that was pretty good. And thank you all for watching. and I will be seeing you next time that I record. Thank you all for being so patient with me and being awesome. So, bye!